Deep in the heart of South America lie secrets and bizarre creatures that lurk beneath its canopy. Would you own a giant frog as a pet? Also known as the Goliath Frog. They are currently the largest living frog in the world. They can grow up to 13 inches in length, with their eyes growing 2.5 centimeters across. They aren't born with their big boy girthy size though, and at their tadpole stage, they actually look quite similar to the offspring of medium-sized frogs. The only difference with Goliath frogs though, these guys just don't stop growing. With more mass on you, the more meat you provide, right? They are considered a food source in their area, but capturing them, despite their size, is not easy. The Goliath frog can leap to about 3 meters high to avoid the locals' nets. These frogs also are not picky when it comes to their own meals, and if it's able to fit in their mouth, it goes down the hatch. Someone even recorded finding a bat in the stomach of one of these things. Except for their tadpoles though, and much like humans, their diet doesn't really change until they reach a more mature age. They also build nests for their tadpoles, which is extremely unusual in comparison to other frogs. Scientists are also speculating that the female Goliaths are the reason as to why this species is so big. It's usually the males that make the nests, and the bigger and better the nests are, the more likely the female is going to choose you. And also, another male probably trying to take credit for your work by wrestling you for it. The kissing bug, or also known as the vampire bug, a fluid-sucking monster that has been talked about since the early 1900s. There was a story written by an author named Horatio Q, who tells the tale of a woman who was rapidly losing weight for no apparent reason, eventually leading her to suffer with severe anemia. When she passed, a thorough search was done on her room, only for their servants to discover a large bug hiding within her pillow. They discovered that every night when she would go to sleep, the bug would come out and lay its lips on her temple like a kiss, only except it was sucking out her fluids. Although the story might be a little fictional, the majority of the retelling is true. The kissing bug does suck out your fluids, but the most problematic part about this though is that it will defecate harmful parasites into the wound after it stops feeding. This leads to a harmful result known as chaga, with some of the symptoms including eye swelling, fever, headache, muscle pains, etc. Although its home is South America, the rapid warming of the planet has caused the bug to start migrating north, with some cases even appearing here in Canada. The biggest freshwater apex predator in the Amazon basin, also known as the Aripaima. This guy is at the top of the underwater food chain around these parts, with its intimidating size of being 10 feet long and weighing up to 400 pounds. You can also find them in shallow ponds and freshwater lagoons, when water levels begin to rise from environmental issues. But fingers crossed that you don't. With their gigantic stature, they will eat anything that can fit into their mouth, and alive, of course. Fish, small mammals, birds, crustaceans, and even fruit. An interesting hunting tactic that they do is that they suck up their prey like a vacuum, and once the meal is inside, all they have to do is take one chomp to end it. If their size and hunting skills weren't scary enough, they can also breathe air if they find themselves in shallow waters. The Aripaima is also somewhat a living fossil. Much like the goblin shark, they are a distinct relative of a similar species from 13 million years ago. Their scales have adapted into an armor of sorts, allowing them to be almost impenetrable by piranhas and the caiman. The last living member of his tribe, given the name Man of the Hole since no one truly knows what he calls himself, or the language he speaks. People who have been keeping an eye on him stated that he had been alone for 23 years, after his tribe was targeted by a group of cattle ranchers back in 1995. He was the only one that made it out. The guy seemed to be doing alright for himself, managing just fine for 2 decades on his own. He was given the specific name Man of the Hole because of the large dugout pits he would create to trap animals inside of. A company called Funai managed to capture some footage of him cutting down a tree. It's quite eerie and saddening seeing him all alone out there, but life goes on. No one dares to get close to him though, because back in 2004 he had sent a warning to the people who were trying to follow him and record. An arrow had actually managed to injure one of the workers as well. We often forget that people who've been alone for so long are not to be messed with, especially with someone with such a troubling past such as his. What's your favorite fact about the Amazon? Let me know down below and I will see you all in the next video. Strange and bizarre creatures lurk in the Amazon rainforest, some of which appear to be straight out of a fiction novel. The bizarre-looking vampire fish, given its name for obvious reasons. Right there on their lower jaw is two strikingly long vampire-looking teeth. These bad boys can grow up to 6 inches long, almost the length of my hand. On their upper jaws, there are two specialized holes that house these malicious-looking things when its mouth is closed. They're also born with these because of how big their fangs are when they're born. Besides being born with these chompers, their bodies are built to withstand some intense currents and rapids. The vampire's fish body overall is no joke either, and they can get as big as 3 feet long and weigh up to 40 pounds. This is in the wild though, because in captivity, they sadly keep themselves on the smaller end of 12 inches and 10 pounds. Their scientific name, a Greek one that I can't pronounce, roughly translates to water wolf tuna thing. The thing is my own addition. They're also kind of bullies and will push away any other fish from the area, no matter its size, just so that it has the freedom to scour it in peace. Although being both moody and temperamental naturally, they can get really aggressive. The turkey vulture, not only seen in South America, but also in southern parts of Canada as well. Crazy fact about these guys is that they will projectile vomit on either their prey or predators to keep them away. It's not regular vomit though, but rather stomach acid that's so intense it can burn your eyes. They can aim it pretty far too, with one record showing that they can spit it up to 10 feet. Apparently, this stomach acid is so strong that it's been compared to being sprayed with battery acid, and being 100 times stronger than human stomach acid. They are scavenger birds though, and they won't do this as a hunting tactic, but rather they'll use their vomit to claim the remains on other animals so that no one else will dare take it from them. Using their vomit isn't the only bodily fluid that they'll use to their advantage. Can you guess what the other one is? Yep, their own poop. They will defecate on their own feet to kill harmful bacteria that would linger on after they pick at a meal. It's an antiseptic wash of sorts. Gross, but cool. The infamous 24-hour ant. You've probably seen that one guy on YouTube, Coyote Peterson, take on the challenge of seeing how bad this sting actually is. It's quite awful, and there is a reason that the ant is given its name, since the power of the sting can linger on for 24 hours. You'd be surprised that such a tiny creature would be able to produce such force, growing no bigger than 1.5 inches and a very clear stinger protruding on its backside. The colonies of the 24-hour ant are usually always found at the base of the trees in the Amazon. It helps them build canopies over their entrance. If you ever happen to find yourself getting a little too close to their home, don't worry, they'll be sure to let you know by releasing an extremely unpleasant smell, letting you know that they are armed and ready. There are certain tribes in the Amazon as well that will use the 24-hour ants as initiation rites. They create a glove woven out of leaves and stick a bunch of the ants on it with their stingers facing inward. The person will have to wear the glove 20 times. You think one sting was bad? Try that on for size. The giant otters of the Amazon. I personally think they're pretty cute. They can't be all that bad, right? The biggest one on record right now is 1.8 meters, making it double the size of a regular otter. Yeah, they appear cute and adorable, but their diet sure isn't. While the majority of otters would take on meals smaller than themselves, these guys will not hesitate to square up with a caiman or an anaconda. They are very social though with each other, and will live in groups between 3 to 10 other otters, and possibly use those numbers to ambush a caiman or something. Kind of like meerkats, the teenage otters will babysit the younger ones while the parents are out hunting or doing other things. They are very family oriented. Because of their insane scent glands, they will scent mark their territory with bodily fluids, but will also clean up their environment of shrubs and plants along the riverbeds. So yeah, their family is pretty tough, but not as scary as people may think. What's your favorite fact about the Amazon? Let me know down below, and I will see you all in the next video.